So, what are my five tips for starting a photography business in 2021? Let's go.
I never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world.
All right, so these are things that I try to think about whenever I'm doing professional photography. They're things that help me get started, and these are my suggestions to you. I never really did a list here on YouTube as far as the videos, so this is my first list video, I guess you could say, but they're pretty popular. So these are 5 steps that I think you should take to become a professional photographer. So rule number 1, the first thing that I think you should think about is that no one wants to be your first client. You know, whether it's a wedding client, whether it's an event, a mitzvah client that I do a lot of, corporate clients, advertising, marketing, editors, and stuff like that. Nobody wants to put their reputation on the line for somebody who's new and just starting out. Especially when it comes to corporate clients and the business end of things. But weddings, the weddings are a once in a lifetime thing. They're going to trust that to a new person. So with that being said, how do you sit back and give the impression that you've been doing this for a long time, that you aren't just a newbie when you don't have any clients, when you're really brand new? Which brings me to rule number 2, and that is get out and volunteer. Don't be afraid to volunteer. It's not the same as exposure bucks, because exposure bucks is when that wedding client is reaching out to you saying, can you shoot my event for free and I will give you exposure. I will talk about your brand on Instagram, things like that. That's exposure bucks. You don't want to do that. But when you're going out to communities like nonprofits, people that, most nonprofits, they're not in position to afford a professional photographer, because every single money that they raise is going towards making the difference that they're trying to make. And a perfect example of that is animal shelters, right? So every month, every single payment or fund that comes in, charitable donation that comes to an animal shelter is going towards keeping the life of that dog going. So it's paying for volunteers, it's paying for food, it's paying for the shelter, the electricity of the place. So that's where every single penny goes to that. So they don't really have money to be hiring professional photographers. So whenever there's a new dog or a new cat that comes into the animal shelter, they're taking like quick cell phone shots and quick pictures. But there's a lot of campaigns and a lot of people out there that are professional photographers that offer and volunteer photography to animal shelters. The cool thing is that, so you can go to Savage Universal, and if you're committed to doing this ongoing, Savage Universal may even provide you with a free professional portrait backdrop. And you can get some stands and some decent gear to get started in that. So if you go out there and let's say you're volunteering for the local animal shelter and you go out there and you take some good photos of these dogs, they're going to put it on Pet Finder, they're going to put it on their website, they're going to put it on Facebook, and you're going to be representing a brand. So you're going to now have these nice professional photos of these dogs. That's going to help save that dog's life. When somebody's looking through a list of all these different dogs that are available, and then they see this one that's nice and bright and up close and, against a nice backdrop, and it's a photo that you took, that's the photo that's going to click on, and they're going to learn about that dog. So not only are you bettering the community, but you're helping save a life. And you're getting used to doing a kind of photography that isn't just your family and friends. Again, you're representing a brand. You're building yourself up. Now, once you provide that volunteer photography, you can then go in and edit the photos and send it to them. Again, they're going to publicly share it, hopefully, and hopefully they will in turn write a review, and they will be thankful for the efforts that you put forth. And after they write that review, and you could put that review on your website, now you have a review and you have some past work that you've done of portraits. If you can take a nice portrait of a dog that's jumping around at an animal shelter, and you can make it look clean and professional, then you can be a good portrait studio photographer. So, and that's just one area of volunteering. There are different ways to do it. I do a lot for Habitat for Humanity. So I've gone and learned about their process. I've talked about it here on this channel. And the photos that I've taken for them have been on a brochure printed out all nice. So now I have this nice professional brochure to show clients, corporate clients and things like that. So that's just another avenue. You can do military homecomings. You can do a variety of different ways to better the community and get connected with volunteering. And then that volunteering will then branch you out into different areas of photography. And then from that, you can kind of find your niche and find what you really like and what you like doing. And you'll also be building a portfolio. You can take that portfolio, you can put it on your website, anything like that. Which brings me to rule number 3 is start being legitimate. Start telling people that you are a professional photographer. You know, if you're just telling people that, oh, well, you only do it part-time, or you do it on the weekends, or, you know, this is a hobby for you. Again, which brings me back to rule number 1. No one's going to put their trust in you if you're not as committed. If you're not committed to this, then the client's not going to be committed to it. So they have to be convinced that this is what you do for a living. Nobody has to know how you pay their bills, but they want to know that you're committed to being a professional photographer. So get a simple business card. It doesn't have to be elaborate, just something with your name on it. Get a basic web address, the xyzphotography.com. Have that go to, you know, a simple, maybe even a Linktree site. So you can get a Linktree site that's just a bunch of links to all your free profiles, your Instagram, your Facebook page, your Twitter account, anything of those that are all free to set up. You can get a Linktree and just get a basic web address that goes to those. And just get started. Just start. That's rule number 3 is just start. Put yourself out there. And then rule number 4 is after you now have this website and you have some portfolio work and you have some referrals from these different types of nonprofits that are on your website that are really happy with the work that you did and they're very thankful for it, you can then put yourself out there and you won't seem so much like a beginner to that new client that's coming in. And then when they reach out to you and you start getting actually paid clients and booked work, then you can start looking into rule number 4, which is establishing your LLC, start putting money away from taxes, getting contracts together, look into a CRM, look into how you're going to deliver the photos. So I use Shootproof, and you know all some of that back end business work, being legitimate. I think that's step 4. So step 1 or rule number 1, of course, is no one wants to be your first client. So rule number 2 is volunteer more. Once you start volunteering, number 3, put that work onto something legitimate, something tangible, your website, business cards, things like that. And rule number 4 is start being protected. You know, get your insurance, your documents, contracts, all that kind of stuff. Start getting all that in order, especially as you start really getting some clients in. So that's rule number 4. And rule number 5 is doing the follow-up, you know, reaching out to clients, delivering their photos, reaching out to, you know, clients and finding, you know, getting their review from them, how you deliver their photos, look into the software to deliver the photos, and just do some reassessments, start figuring out from that volunteering work and, you know, from your beginning early clients, how much time and effort that you're putting into these clients, and then just break that down by hour. You know, time is money. You know, how much effort are you putting into it, and from that, start really locking in what kind of pricing you should have and what you should be charging. Your prices should be 100% based on, first and foremost, what your expenses are and how much time you're putting into it and how much money you want to make per hour. You know, a lot of times if you, after your costs are factored into it and you break it all down, you could be making only $5, $6, $7 an hour doing photography, and that's not worth it. So you really got to up your pricing, but you're not going to know to do that until after you've established all your costs. And sometimes you don't know all your costs until you're in it and doing it. So that's rule number 5. So just to recap real quick, you know, rule number 1, no one wants to be your first client. Rule number 2 is volunteer. Rule number 3 is after you're volunteering, put some pen to paper, I guess the term is, and, you know, get yourself the web address and get yourself a business card and name your company. And rule number 5 is establishing all that kind of stuff. So that's real quick. Those are some 5 quick tips of what to do to really get the ball rolling and start your photography business in 2021. I hope you got some value out of this. Make sure to click subscribe. I'm going to try to bring more videos to you a little bit more often. My name is Scooter Roth. You can check me out at scooterroth.com. I also run mythsofmayhem.com, rimlightweddings.com, and changingoptics.org. All right, take care.